I think some of you, I think maybe one or two still not here, but I think we should proceed because 5 minutes already. So today, okay. So today, okay, you can see my screen, right? So today, for research method, this is our week 6. We are already on week 6. So today we will go through this lecture. And for practical, we will go to week 6 and 7 first before we go to our practical. So, and then our group progress assignment of update progress for the assignment. Okay, so before we start, let me remind you, but I already post this announcement since July 1st. You will have your online midterm on this date, 21st. So you need to, because I already post this since 1st July, so you need to check on this date and don't forget you have midterm on this date. So book your date. Okay, so this is, I think, by this level degree, you should know this. So you cannot absent without any reason, any strong reason. And then it will conducted through the Google meeting and it will cover from chapter 1 to chapter 5. This is the format of each of the question. I think you guys can see this one later if you haven't. But I think should already aware of this one. Okay. And then let me think first. Yeah. Because last week we already, if you remember last week we don't have lecture because we do the exercise 3. You can check back later. Exercise 3, which is the article. So we already finished the exercise for our exercise 3. So we already finished our exercise by last week. So you need to, I think for your midterm, it's not I think, for your midterm, they will ask you or they will give you like an article like this, but I'm not sure yet because I'm not the CC. As I was informed, this article will be given to the lecturer 24 hours before the midterm, if I'm not mistaken. And for your midterm, it will only cover your lecture. That means it won't ask you anything from the practical because we have practical, right? So the material that will be asked is only from your lecture. Okay.
So just theory only, yeah.
Yeah, yes, Daniel. So
Just
only
theory
theory,
only, yeah.
no practice. Yeah,
Not
the one that you
not
pardon,
the article one that we need to write like the last time our tutorial.
write article. No, 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 no. They will give you article, but
Uh,
based on that article, yeah, they will ask you. They will give you practical, and they will ask you something like this. That's why I said the practical. I'm not sure yet what or how, because haven't received the practical. The article. I mean the article. So this is, I think, what they will ask you for your midterm. They will give you an article, and then based on that article, you need to answer the question. Maybe they will ask you what is the hypothesis, method. No practical. I mean, they won't ask you the question from practical, but they will give you an article to answer the question. Okay, did I make myself clear on that part? Yeah. Okay. So it will be on 21st. So we have two more, three, one, two, three more classes before midterm. Okay, so I think I will cover. I didn't intend to talk about your midterm for this week, but since I come across it, so I just say it. But I think I will come again regarding your midterm somewhere between these 3 weeks. Okay, but yeah, like I said, it's only from your exercise. It's not practical question. That's mean they won't ask you because in practical, if you already open your practical, they have many. It's not many. They have some like method there, so they won't ask you. So just focus on your article. But I have an advice for you guys. Instead of you memorize, I mean like at least you capture a bit, if not all, because it's an open. I won't say it's open test, but because you have your internet connection, so don't waste. I mean, you need to actually familiarize yourself with this kind of question. What is dependent and what is independent, because they will give you an article, so you have your time, limited time for you guys. So instead of you wasting your time on the midterm day to search of what is this or what is this, so at least you guys should know. I don't think you have enough time to go and Google this thing. Okay, but unless you have a very fast technique to search. Okay, we will talk about this one later again. So we will go to lecture 6, which is data collection, measurement, and strategies. So before we move, any question? I haven't opened. So can I proceed? I take it as yes. So here what we will cover today, data collection and measurement strategies. Wait. Oh, okay, here. Data collection and measurement strategies. Okay, here, data collection and measurement strategies. So if you already started, but I think most of you at least already have the framework because I already checked the link, but I can see some like hole in your assignment, but that's okay. But I think if you already by this week, you already should know what is data collection. Data collection is a process where we collect our data for our research. So that is data collection. But of course, data collection, we have many methods or we have few methods to collect our data. And measurement strategies. Measurement strategies is actually the level or we how we measure the level of our data. But this one we will go through this lecture later. So this is the objective or what is covered on this lecture. So the first one is method of data collection. Like I said, there are few methods available for your data collection and data sampling. So we will see what is data sampling. Okay, so here is the overview or the whole picture of method to collect your data. So here they divide, or usually this is the common one. We have the primary and secondary source. So before we go to each of these, let me explain. Primary source is data that we get from it's like one-to-one data. Primary source is a data or source that we get through it's our own data. Yeah, we get this data. Primary source is our own data. That means we directly get that data. So this is the method. We'll explain later. But secondary sources is the data that we get from another work or another researcher from the previous work or previous researcher. So for primary data, okay. So for primary data, primary source here, you can see the observation, experiment, and survey. That's mean for primary source, we take that data from an observation, experiment, or survey. That's mean we are there to collect the data. No, it's not that we are there, but the data is we get directly from the participant. So here we can get the data through observation, experiment, and survey. So for observation, we have two, direct, indirect. This one we will see later what is direct or indirect observation. And then for survey, we have, this is interview. Interview is a method and questionnaire is a instrument or a tool. So we will go through this later. So what's important here, you need to know what is primary source and a secondary source. Like I said, primary source is one-to-one data or the data that we get directly, while secondary source is document. For instance, secondary source is like article. Yeah, the one that you do your LR, literature review. If you get any data from your LR, that can be considered as secondary source. Article, thesis, other people's thesis, if you refer to them, that is your secondary data. So basically that is primary and secondary data. Okay, here we move to the first one. We go to the first one first, which is primary data, or what we call as primary source. So under primary source, we have this observation, and under observation, we have direct and indirect observation. So I think you guys should know already what is observation. So as you can, there's no explanation on observation here, but observation is we observe or we monitor. It can be through watching or listening the event, interaction of phenomenon. It can be any event. It can be people, or it can be, I won't say animal. It can be anything as long as you can get your data through that observation. Okay. So here, direct observation, we have participant and non-participant observation. So what is the difference between participant and non-participant observation? So participant observation as is we as a researcher, we as a scientist or as a researcher, we involved in the observation. That means we are one of them. Yeah, we are the participant. That means we are with them. But I think we will go through later what is the example of participant observation. But participant observation is basically we involve with our participant. That means we are one of the participant. Okay, and non-participant observation. That means we only observe them for, we only observe, we only monitor them. Whatever happen, we just monitor. We cannot get involved in the event. So we are passive observer. Passive observer is actually uh passive observer is actually we as a researcher, we only observe. That means we not affected or we won't get affected by the event. Different with participant observation where we involve. For non-participant, we are passive observer. That means we only watch or maybe listen to the event. That means we are not involved at all. We're not affected and we do not get affected by the event, as you can see here. So that is participant and non-participant observation on the surface. So, okay, this is the participant observation. Okay, let me explain this diagram. Okay, participant observation, actually we involve with the participant. For example, here there's a research by this scientist, David. Yeah, this scientist. So he observed his participant, which is the, what do we call them now? Uh, Patient that is not normal in the hospital. There's one term, but I think you know what? Those people, they're involved with them. So he involved himself as one of those people, which is, this is the term pseudo patients, which the researcher who possess as a patient to observe them more or to know them more as a patient. You know, the mental hospital with people with mental problem. Yeah, he involved as one of them. So that is participant observation. So it's one of them. And I think this is easy participant observation. You just need to know that you are the participant yourself. That means you involved with your research, or no, with your observation. That is participant observation. Here is the sequence from the previous patch. Uh, Actually, basically, I'm not sure what is this, but in a research, a participant observation, that means you are involved with your research. I mean, you are involved with your participant. That means you act as one of them, as a group of people who you observe. Why some of the researcher tend to join the participant is because the researcher, us, we want to we want to we want to know more on the participant. For example, your assignment, your project, there's one group, uh, one group of you guys. The research is on the e-hailing commuters, something that relate the satisfaction of commuters and e-hailing. So maybe you can do this kind of method, which is you do this participant observation. So you obviously we are as the commuters of e-hailing in KK. So we can, it's not that we can answer, but we can get the data through what we already encountered. That means we are the commuters of the e-hailing in KK. So that is considered as one of the participant observation. Okay. So basically, this is the participant observation. I'm not sure this term because I'm not medical. I don't have medical background. Psychiatric. Psychiatrists fail to test the difference between people who are sane and those who are insane. Insane is not normal, sane is normal. So here, I just read the conclusion for you guys. So the psychiatrists fail to tell the difference between the people who are normal and not normal. No, I think auditory hallucination. By the way, that's the participant observation. Okay, do you have any question before we get on to the next slide?
No.
So far, do you guys understand? I think
Yep.
yes. So, okay, so cool. So let's move to non-participant observation. So like I mentioned just now, non-participant observation, we only observe. That means we are the passive observer. Passive observer, that means we do not involve with our group of participant. We only involve, we monitor them, we see, we watch how is our behavior, what is the behavior of our group. So here in the non-participant observation, actually there's one concern in this method to get our data, which is what we call as Hawthorne effect. Hawthorne effect is actually the behavior in human. We tend to change our behavior. Mm, yeah. For example, we notice someone watch us or someone monitor us, so we tend to change our behavior. So Hawthorne effect is actually the change of behavior, the change of our behavior when we know that someone observing us or someone monitoring us. So there's actually concern in, it's not concern, it's like concern, or we call it as an, it's not even an issue, but it's concern. If we want to get our data, but I think for your group assignment, should be okay with this one. Actually, for serious research or for serious or for deep research, actually there's a concern on this effect. Why? Because some of the participant is not, the behavior is not really what they tend to do when someone is not watching them. So the data that we get through this kind of participant is tend to be not, it's not that not accurate, but there's like slightly different with what's usually happen, or what's usually how the people actually behave. It's only like slight change in the behavior. So this is effect, I think not only in research, everywhere, or I think that's the common behavior of human. When someone's watching us, we tend to change our behavior. Okay, so that is non-participant observation. So the keyword to non-participant observation is actually we don't involve, we do not get affected, and we do not get, or we do not affect, or we do not get affected by our observation. So that is non-participant observation for direct source, for direct data. So here, like I said, non-participant observation where we only observe. So here is the what I explained just now, hot horn effect. This one, where we notice someone observe us, so we tend to change behavior. Mm, well, actually, in a research, it's not really a problem, but it's like, no, it's not a problem, but yeah, we can take it as a problem, but it's not, I won't say it's a problem or it is not a problem. It's actually somewhere in the middle between problem or not problem. It's the Houghton effect, like I said just now. This one is bias and incomplete observation, which is halo effect. Halo effect is actually on the we, we as the me, for example, me as the researcher, how I have bias on my observation. That is halo effect, and varying interpretation is also not a problem because varying interpretation is actually how we see things. For example, here, I think this is common. We see things from different perspective. The thing is correct or what we observe is correct, but we as a researcher, we how do we interpret things or how do we see things? That's varying interpretation. Oh yeah, but I have advice because I think this is just an advice. Should I say this? Not for this varying, not for this observation, but I think you guys have FYP, right? For your final semester letter, not now, letter for your final semester. If you have your FYP, I'm not sure how the college, because they haven't briefed me yet on the FYP. If you have your FYP, you have FYP, right? I think Noel said, yeah, FYP. So I'm not sure how they are going to assign lecturer or supervisor to you guys because I'm not yet briefed on the FYP. So this is my advice as a student, not as a lecturer, as a student, because I'm a student too with UMS now. Just an okay, just an advice. Mm, Later, if you are allowed to choose your supervisor, if they allow you to choose your supervisor, try to tackle or try to choose a supervisor that can see things, or at least they have the same opinion with you on your project. Why I say so? Because in your FYP you will have your committee. Yeah, I know, that's why I noticed this now, but it's okay, let me finish this part first. In your FYP, try to get a supervisor that can see things from the same perspective like you. Why I say so? Because in your FYP you will have a committee. Committee will consist of your examiner and your supervisor. Your examiner and your supervisor. So, um, examiner or supervisor is someone who is going to help you along your project. That means if you do not have the same interpretation or the same opinion with them, with her or him, it's going to be hard for you. But for your because for supervisor is someone that's going to help you with your research, so you need to be on the same page with your supervisor. At least you're on this in the same boat on your research. You see things from the same perspective, because research, there's no right or wrong in research, but at least you have the same perspective or you see things from the same point of view with your supervisor. Because you have examiner. Examiner is someone who is going to shoot. No, not shoot. I shouldn't use that word. Someone going to ask you for your project. So okay. So if you are allowed to choose your supervisor, if you are allowed, then if not, then there's nothing we can do. So if you're allowed, try to get someone who get um, someone who are on the same page at least from your research. So it will be easier for you because your supervisor is going to help you. Okay, that's just an advice. from me as a student too. So now let's back to this slide. So next we have indirect observation. We are still in the primary source, which is primary data, indirect observation, where we can get our material through narrative or audio recording. So what is narrative? Narrative is actually from a text, maybe from a conversation. Here, yeah, as you can see, this is the conversation or conversation of people. It can be anyone. So here we get the data or we observe their conversation through a text. This is what we call as narrative. And audio recording is we get the data through audio recording. I think this is quite straightforward, which is the material is from text and the material is from audio for recording observation. Okay, narrative and audio recording. And then next we have survey. Survey is a method where we do interview. Survey can be one of the method is interview. So interview can be structured or unstructured. I think from the terms structured and unstructured, you should have at least get some idea what is the difference between structured and unstructured interview. So for structured interview, ask preset question, face-to-face telephone or other electronic media. So structured interview is actually we already prepare our question. We already have our question prior to the interview. That means we prepare for what we want to ask during the interview. So that is structured. So the structured can be asked through face-to-face, telephone, or other electronic media. This is just a method or how we're going to get our data. So structured is preset question. That means we already have our question different with unstructured. Unstructured is a interview that we don't have any specific question. For example, I'm conducting a research on uh, customer satisfaction, but customer satisfaction usually is a structured or what? Unstructured. Yeah, let's take customer satisfaction or as unstructured. Let's say my research is on the domain of my research is customer satisfaction on something. So the unstructured interview is we don't have specific question to ask to the people. Instead, we just like do a conversation. Yeah, conversation like we chit chat with them and then we ask them the question based on what we are talking about. It's as you can see here, they highlight this goes with the flow. That means we just ask based on our conversation. Okay, we don't have we don't have specific question to ask. That is the different between structured and unstructured. Structured, you have your preset question before your interview, and unstructured question is we don't have any specific or particular question to ask. We just ask them as the conversation go. So that's the different. And then now we move to questionnaire. I'm very sure most of you here are using Google Form to create your questionnaire. So actually, in your research, to design or to construct or to develop a questionnaire, it is very hard. But for your level, I think should be okay. You just develop your questionnaire. But if you do master, shouldn't go for master. For your maybe FYP, for FYP questionnaire, even to ask one single question, you need to justify why you ask them, or how do you get that question, or how relevant is your question to your research. So actually, questionnaire for me myself, it is a very crucial part, or I think it's one of the hardest part in research to develop a questionnaire. My research last time for my master, I think my questionnaire got rejected few times because it is not a good questionnaire. How to develop a good questionnaire actually is quite hard because you need to refer to so many things. And actually for a questionnaire, right, for a research, they need to ask, you have like a panel to approve your questionnaire. That's mean you will submit your questionnaire and then there's an expert, yeah, expert on questionnaire will approve, a group of expert actually, not only one, a group of expert actually just to approve your questionnaire, even though you ask only 5 questions in your questionnaire. So questionnaire is very, for me personally, I think it's quite hard to come up with a questionnaire, but for your level, I think should be okay. So what is a questionnaire? Questionnaire is actually a written list of questions. I think you guys should know this already. It's a question that you want to ask. Okay. Since there's no one to explain the meaning of this question, it is important to keep the question simple, clear, and easy to understand. Okay. In any level of our study, in any research, it is very important to keep our questionnaire simple, short, and clear. That's mean here. This second point here. For example, you have your Google form, right? Then from your Google form, you will generate a link. So you will forward that link to people. So when the people, for example, you for your project, you will forward that link to me. So I will answer your, I will fill your questionnaire. So I need to understand your question in order for me to answer them. So you need to make it short and simple. You do not use any high level language, do not use any bombastic word. Just make it simple so that people can understand it easily. So that is one of the importance of your questionnaire. And then, so like I said, to develop a questionnaire, it's very hard. So there's no one specific method to develop your questionnaire. But of course, for your research, actually, there's a lot of concern on your questionnaire. That's why we all, the students for master and PhD, we always go for a group of experts for questionnaire. But for your questionnaire, for your assignment, what I suggest you guys to do is, if you have, because not all, right? If I'm not mistaken, it depends on your project. If you want to develop your questionnaire, if you have questionnaire, you should, before you go to, before you send the link to people, or before you really release your questionnaire, try to, maybe if you can ask me if I have comment on your questionnaire. Okay. So this is the key principle to design a questionnaire. Here I will go pass on this one. So the first one, keep as short as possible. Do not confuse the reader. Do not confuse your target. Keep it as short as possible. Like I said, do not use any high level language. Do not use any bombastic word. So keep it as short as possible and simple. Ask short, simple, and clearly worded question. Sam, do not use any specific terms or any terms that you think people with normal level of English won't understand. The first one, second is the same one. Start with demographic question to help respondent get started comfortably. So what is demographic question? In a questionnaire, demographic question, for example, is ask them what is their age, maybe the gender, race, or employment. So that is demographic question. But do not ask the question that is too specific. For example, what is your income or what is your salary per month? That is too specific, and that is not proper to ask. Or ask them what is your pointer, CGPA. That is not proper. If you want to ask them pointer, maybe you give them range. Do not ask specific question, because that's not proper to ask in a questionnaire. So ask them, start with demographic question, like I said, age, gender, race, or employment. That is the example of demographic question. So use yes or no or multiple question. This is the reason we use this is close-ended. Close-ended, that means we give them only yes or no. So this is for the participant so that they feel it's for your questionnaire too. So your questionnaire is easy to answer. That means you don't do any open-ended. You do not use any open-ended question too many. Okay, let me explain. Number 5, what is open-ended? So here, as you can see, use open-ended question cautiously. So what is open-ended? Open-ended question in in easier word or in easier term is something like subjective question. That means you don't have specific, or the use, we as the respondent, we don't have any specific answer to answer that question. For example, in our questionnaire, we want to ask, uh, do you like item A? Explain. So that is or open-ended. That means the answer is from the respondent. For close-ended is something like this. That means we already give the option to the respondent. Okay, we give them option to answer. Open-ended is a subjective question to ask to the respondent. Okay, so we need to ask them cautiously. Do not use leading question. Leading question, for example, from question 6, you need to answer your question based on your answer on question 5. That is leading question. That means this question is from the previous question. For example, if your answer is yes, step or explain, that is leading question. Or we pause the respondent answer in particular way. Okay. And then pre-test a questionnaire on a small number of people. Like I said just now, for your assignment, if you have your questionnaire, you should maybe, I won't say me, maybe you can ask to other people also if this is okay or not. So pre-test a questionnaire on a small number of people. That means before you release your questionnaire, you should test your questionnaire with small number of people, because we want to see how will people react, or how easily the respondent will understand our questionnaire. And then number 8, think about the way you intend to use the collected data when preparing the questionnaire. Okay, this one is very important. Question number 8 is quite important for you, to avoid you guys to ask unnecessary question or to collect unnecessary data for your research. So what I suggest you guys to do for your assignment is you cross check with what you want to get at the end of your research. For example, if you want to see the satisfaction of the consumer, you should ask the level of satisfaction of consumer on your questionnaire. That means you cross check if this is what we need at the end of our research, or is unnecessary. So just ask them what is necessary for you to get your data. Cross check with what you want to tackle at the end of your research. Okay. So before we move, do you guys have any question?
Um,
Okay. So here is design principle for a questionnaire. Okay. Here, like I said, okay, here is your example of a questionnaire. Like from our previous batch, we should ask with demographic question. It can be the gender, it can be the age, or any other demographics question. Short, simple, and clear question. So this is close-ended, which I said, like we give option to the respondent to select the answer from the option, and then this is open-ended. Okay, these two is open-ended question. That means we don't have specific answer for them. Instead, they will provide us with the answer. So we need to avoid this kind of question actually in our, no, it's not that, because sometimes we do need this kind of feedback from the respondent, but use is or ask them cautiously. Okay, and then we do not, or try to avoid leading question. So this is a leading question. Leading question that I already explained this now. And pre-test on a small number of people. That means we send for a test, or maybe we ask someone to check our questionnaire if this is okay or not. Okay, this is an example of our questionnaire. But here, don't get mistaken. Don't get don't get it wrong. You can ask this open-ended and leading question, but you need to ask them cautiously, because some of the research, there's no other way for us to collect the data unless asking this kind of question. But we need to ask them cautiously, or we need to write the questionnaire So next we move to data sampling. Okay, so what is data sampling? I think maybe some of you, not some of you, uh, sample of data. I think maybe you're quite familiar with the term sample of data. So this is the data sampling. So what is data sampling? So data sampling is mm, 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 we get the, for example, we want to study a group or what we call as a population. Yeah, no. For example, we want to study a population. Then we only take some or a group of people from that large group, from large group of people. We only take part of them. For example, if you have 100 in your population, maybe we will take around 40 to 50 for your data sampling. That is what we call as a sample of data. So data sampling is actually how we get our data, the overall data from some of the exact number or real number of the population. No, I think I'm confusing you guys. Let me think first how data sampling. For example, you want to study a population, a big number of population, then we only take part of the population, a group of people in your population to see the overview thing that we want to observe or we want to study. Okay, so that is a sample of data. Then why people or why researcher people use sample of data first? Because it is less expensive. Why it is less expensive? Because obviously because the number of people or the number of participants in the group of our sample is less than the overall number of people. And then it is more practical because we can focus on that group of people during our data collection. Okay, so here to study the global COVID-19 cases, WHO, World Health Organization. So here, for example, you want to study about the COVID-19 cases. It is first, obviously, it is impossible to cover all the continent, all the country in the world. So there will, as you can see here in this patch, it is obviously practically it is not doable. It is impossible to get data from all of us. So they will take a group of people or a group of people from our population. Maybe, for example, if they want to conduct this research, maybe they will split us based on our country, and then maybe from our country they will only take sample from maybe from each of our uh wait, I forgot what is negeri state. Oh yeah, maybe in Malaysia they will only take, for example, in Sabah they only take maybe 100 people from Sabah and then 100 people from Perak, 100 people from other state too, to get the group of our population. So practically it is not doable. So that is data sampling or why data sampling is important. So in sampling plan, there are three, which is random, stratified, and cluster sampling. This is all as sampling, but they are different. So sampling plan is actually a study group by observing part of the group. Like I said, we only study the group based on part of the group. Part of the group can be maybe half or maybe quarter of it. It's depend on your research. And then the first one is, yeah, we will go through this. We have simple random sampling, which is SRS, stratified random sampling, and cluster sampling. So what is simple random sampling? For example, here, as you can see, we have 40. For example, in our class, we have 40 students. Yeah, but we only take half of them. So that is simple random sampling. That means we do not have any particular person or we do not choose. We do not have anyone in particular that we want to choose. It is random. We just take, maybe if we have 20 in our class, we randomly choose 10 or 8 of our student. We do not choose anyone in particular. That is random. The sample is random. Then we have here, a government income tax order must choose a sample of, okay, here is an example. Uh, they want to choose 40 out of 1,000 to do the audit. Here the N, if you see here, N is actually in research. If you come across this one, if you see what is N, is usually the number. N stand for number. So N out of N. Here 40 out of 1,000. But the point of this lecture is, or the point of this example is trying to tell you they are just pick, or they just choose 40 out of 1,000 to do the audit. So this is random. Farah Vincent questionnaire. No, in questionnaire, it's depend on your question. It can open-ended, it can be closed-ended, or it can include both. There's no specific there's no specific type of question that you can ask in your questionnaire, but like I said, you need to ask them cautiously. You can use only closed-ended, like I said, is objective, which we give option to use respondent, and open-ended is subjective. So you can choose either this one, or you can go for both. If close-ended only can. Okay. Yeah. So can we, okay. So here is the random pick number. That's been, they just pick randomly out of 1,000. They just want to take 40. What diagram is this? Random. This is some audit stuff. I'm not sure, but the point here in this research is they choose the people 40 out of 1,000 randomly to do the sampling. And then next we have uh, this one, stratified random sampling, the third one, second one actually. So stratified sample is obtained by separating the population into mutually exclusive set or strata. Strata is actually strata is actually a type of group. Yeah, group. Maybe or strata or group, and then drawing simple random simple from each stratum. So like I said just now, strata is a group Y. As you can see here, this is strata 1, strata 2, strata 3. So what we call as a group. So your group 1 is, for example, here your first group is gender. So your gender can be male or female. And then your second group is your range of age, and then here is occupation. So this is what we call a strata or a group. And then stratified random sampling is, let's say we already get, or we already get this group, and then we want to ask for a specific target or specific respondent or result. For example, here is male, and he need to be less than 20, and he need to be a student. That's mean this is specific. So that is stratified random sampling, the one that we already get after we group our population. Okay, I think the here can make you guys understand. No. So here can, so here as you can see, this is the strata random sampling. Okay. And then next we move to stratified data sampling. So here, let's see. Mm. Okay, here as you can see, here is the explanation from this one, this part. For example, here this is your population certified data sampling. That means we want to, as you can see, this is the output. Oh no, this is the result. Yeah, the output of this sampling. That's mean here what is like this, because as you can see, there are three type of our respondent here or data: the blue, brown, and green. I'm not sure what it is represent, but it actually in the research it represent a different type of data. As you can see, there are three here. And then after you do this, you see the group, the data, or the group this data. Yeah, they group these people or data into their own group. That's mean this go to this go to this, and this go to this. And then after they already tag this data, then only they classify. They come out with this output, or this is the, after they already do the sampling, after they already split this group of people, this group of sampling data, they group into this, they come out with this. So stratified data sampling is actually, like I said, they want to focus on certain or particular, within a group, they want to focus on particular data, like we say, like we see here. So that is stratified data sampling. But I think for this kind of sampling, right? Mm, well, because I already see your assignment. So this kind of sampling, because this is quite, I won't say quite high level of research, but I think none of you will apply this. But if you do, then that's great. But I think none of you, as far as I already read from your progress. Okay, that is certified data sampling. And then cluster sampling. I think most of you, it's not most of you, I think we are nowadays, because COVID, right? We are familiar with the term cluster. So can anyone tell me what is cluster? What do you understand from cluster? Anyone can tell me what is cluster? If you
Uh,
listen to,
just a random group of people in the same area like that.
correct. You read the lecture note, right? For the class.
No,
Uh,
I just see a lot of news like of
yeah,
COVID, like this cluster in
COVID.
this area, this cluster in
Yeah,
Sungai
yeah, yeah.
Buloh like that.
Correct. Cluster is basically correct. What Kelvin said, cluster, if you listen to news, nowadays they said cluster from Taman, maybe Taman, what are Taman? Taman Indah Permai, or cluster from this area of group. So cluster is similar thing or people that happen or randomly happen in one place or one area. So that is cluster. So here, let me see. So cluster is things that occur closely to each other. In one area, they are occur closely to each other. That is cluster sampling. That's mean actually, if you go to, maybe if you go to Google, you can notice or you can see cluster is something that accumulate like this. I think they are very, it's not they are very, they are closely together. So here data sampling here, the larger the sample size, the more accurate we can expect the sample estimate to be. So we can estimate they are accurate with the high number of sample size. As you can see here, the people are closely together, or this is what we call as data sampling. That means the result of our data, or what we get, the result of our data, the output is closely occur together in one specific one, yeah, one area. That is cluster. Okay. And then we have data sampling, which is quantitative and qualitative. So I won't explain what is quantitative and I won't explain what is qualitative because I already mentioned in our previous lecture. But the greater the sample size, the more accurate the finding will reflect the true picture. So instead of me explain what is quantitative and what is qualitative, can anyone tell me what is the difference between quantitative and qualitative? Anyone? What is quantitative? What is qualitative research or data? What is the keyword to quantitative? Anyone, guys? What is quantitative? What is then qualitative? Other than these two, who wants to try to answer? Jeremiah, what do you think? What is quality? So here, this is, I think, correct. No, this is correct. Qualitative is related to most number. Okay. Quantitative is related to number. And qualitative is actually more to, very qualitative is actually more to text form of data. More people more accurate the data. Shop, where did you copy this from? More people, more accurate the data. Quantitative. Quantitative. Uh, more people, more people, more accurate the data. Quantitative. Yes, because this is related to number. So the higher the number of people, the more accurate the data should be. Qualitative is what qualitative. Qualitative is what when the number of people reach a number, then the number become more accurate. This one, where did you copy that? But it's kind of correct. Is there anywhere here? This one with the same one with the one that you copy there just now. Okay, I summarize this answer from your friend there. So this one quantitative number, of course, the higher the number of people, the more accurate the data will be. Qualitative of data is qualitative when the number of people when the number of people reach a number, then it will become more accurate. So the collected sample data is the more accurate data. The number of your sample size is the more accurate, the finding will reflect the true picture. The true picture here is trying to explain the correct the correct picture, the correct idea of your research. Then qualitative is determined by the saturation. Saturation is here, how accurate it is. How accurate is your data? So determined by the saturation of the point, how accurate they are with each other. Okay, so that is qualitative and quantitative. And then next we have error in sampling. So we have to they have sampling error and non-sampling error. So what is the error? So collected sample does not represent the true population. Uh, like I said, sample of data is data that we get from a group or a real number of the data, but we only get the sample number. So the sample number, the sample data or or the collected sample sometimes does not represent the true population. It's not that this statement is not the exact statement. I mean, like collected sample does not represent the true population, but it can be true, but sometimes the collected sample is not represent the true population. Okay, so that is the issue, or that is the error with sampling data. Sometimes, only sometimes. This is like I said, this statement is not the exact statement. That's mean it's not necessary does not represent the true population. It can be true, but it can have some accuracy problem at a time, which is not accurate. And then sampling error. Here is the example of sampling error. If you notice, these people are those rich people, Robert Koch for sugar, Astro. I'm not sure who is him. I'm not sure him, Russia, and maybe this one is, I don't know. So here, increasing the sample size doesn't mean you can get more accurate data. Of no, actually, the larger the number of the sample size, it will lead to more accurate data. But increasing the sample size doesn't mean you get the exact, yeah, that's the term, the exact data. As you can see here, maybe they want to test or they want to. I can see what one of the common behavior by these people here. They are rich. I mean, rich people. So maybe here this error is they want to see what is the range or yeah range of their asset. So increasing this number of people here, still we cannot get what is the exact value. That is the sampling error. Actually, in any method that we use, even though in questionnaire or sampling data sample or observation, there is this issue where we don't get the precise, yeah, precise or exact thing that we want to have. So not only for sampling error, not only for sampling, it can go to other method too. And then here is non-sampling error again, error in data acquisition, non-response error, and selecting bias. So what is error in data acquisition? So data acquisition is actually um, real world physical contribute condition. Okay, so errors in data execution is we are going to this one. So this is other three type of sampling error, which is error in data acquisition, non-response errors, and selecting bias. So we will go to this one first, non-sampling error in data acquisition. So data acquisition, before we go to this patch, data acquisition is actually we convert the real world physical into the digital numeric. That means we convert what is real into the digital numeric. So here, arise from recording of incorrect response. Like I said, we convert from what happened or what is the real, not what is the real, what is actually happened, and then we convert into the data or digital numeric type. So incorrect measurement being taken because faulty equipment. So these are here, as you can see here, the step why this error in data sampling is occur. So the first one is incorrect of measurement, which is faulty of the equipment, transcription from primary source, like I said, for non data acquisition is a process actually where we convert or where we transfer the data into digital form or digital numeric. So mistake made during transcription from primary sources, inaccurate recording data due to misinterpretation, and mm, insensitive issue. So we cannot, that's why I said avoid to ask sensitive issue, because inaccurate respond to question concerning sensitive issue. Even though we get the answer, or we as a researcher, we get what we want to ask, but sometimes the data is, it's hard also for us to analyze the data. Okay, so this is just the reason actually, the reason for non-sampling error for data acquisition. Okay, I think this is just minor. We only understood this thing when we go through our research. Okay. So next is selection bias. So selection bias is we do, for example, we want to do observation or want to do research based on this 10 group. And then selection bias occur if we select who involved in those group. That's the term, or that's the meaning of selection bias. That means we plan what or who in the group of people or in the target population. So that is selection bias. So here occurs when the sampling plan is such that some member of the target population cannot possibly be selected for inclusion in the sample. That means selection bias. We plan who is the participant of our group. So that the answer is already like planned before the research. That is selection bias. And then next we have data, which is quantitative and qualitative measure. But how do we measure them? This is the way, the one that I said earlier in our lecture. I said we can get our data, but what is the level or how to measure our data? SME mixed with big company,
The previous
SM Entertainment, or no, it's not SM. You
small
mean the
medium
Malaysia company,
enterprise.
right?
Right.
Small, small what?
Medium
Small
enterprise.
or small medium enterprise. I thought SM Entertainment. Okay, now I know SME. Okay, thank you. By the way, let's move to here. Summary of possible data types and level of measurement. So this is how we are going to measure, or we are going to measure our data. So we have different type of measurement for qualitative and quantitative. Okay. So here, the first one, if you can see here for qualitative, you have nominal and ordinal for qualitative, and for quantitative, they have more specific level of measurement. So let's go to the first one. So the nominals, this is what we call as nominal scale. Okay, so this is what we call as nominal scale. Nominal scale is that mean they have no ranking. For example here, no order and no ranking. For example here, nominal is male and female. It has no ranking. There's no, it's not like For example, it's not like our pointer. The closest it is to 4.0, the highest is our, the high ranking is our pointers, maybe. So here in male, female, there's no ranking for these two, and there's no order for yes and no. It just asks us what is our response. There's no response to this one. So here, as you can see, this is the nominal type of, or what we call as nominal scale. So this is how we measure for qualitative. Yeah, qualitative. And then next we have ordinal. Ordinal is actually or what we call as ordinary scale. This is where we have order and ranking. As you can see here, mm, again, to those e-hailing group, maybe you can do something like this to ask them what is the satisfaction level of the commuters. You can ask if, because for this one, for this scale or for this type of question or measurement, we have a ranking. That's mean from very to unhappy. This is just an example. So from very unhappy to very happy. So we will arrange our data in a ranking. So this is ordinal, or what we call as, this is ordinary scale. Okay. But usually in a questionnaire, if you ask this kind of question, avoid to ask too many ordinal question or this kind of question, because your questionnaire will be crowded. Okay. This is ordinal question, ordinary ordinary scale. And then we have interval. What is interval? Interval, I think you guys know, interval is like there's a different between two value, that is 2 and 16. That's mean they have different between these two value from the words interval. So this is interval. We can see what is the difference between the two value, and we can measure the difference between these two value. That is interval. And then ratio. Ratio is, okay, ratio. Here, as you can see, has all the characteristic of the interval level. That's mean for ratio. Ratio is, actually for ratio, it can be categorized to have equal interval. For example, here, as you can see, they have equal interval, less than 5 feet to 1 inch. You can see from, okay, let's take this one. 5 feet 1 inch to 5 feet 5 inch, and 5 feet 6 inch to 6 feet. You can see there's more or less the equal interval between the two, what do we call this one? Two option here. Same goes to this one. Okay, that is ratio. And then this is the summarize. No, as you can see here. Okay, here nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. This is what I mentioned just now. And this is the one also, if you check with the previous page, for nominal, you can see this checklist here. No label, order, non-different, zero is arbitrary, and zero mean none. Okay, so what is zero, or what we call as arbitrary point? So arbitrary point is actually a some random choice. So zero is arbitrary. That means it has some random choice. Or here you have zero means none. I think this one, two, three, four reflected the words, but zero is arbitrary. Is maybe the terms arbitrary is actually a random choice. Okay, so here is summarized also from this one. And then if you go to this one is the same one. This table is exact same with this one. So I will skip this one. You can cross check with this one. This is the same table actually. This one is the second same table with the previous one. So I will skip this table. Since I think I have time concern, it's already 10:20. So this one, you guys can try to do this one too. This one, okay. So we will see what is the difference between precise and accuracy. So if you study physics, if it is still in your syllabus, because I remember I studied this in my physics for Form 4, the difference between precise and accuracy. I'm not sure if it is still in the syllabus, but yeah, there is a difference between precise and accuracy, or precise, or what we call sometimes is accurate or correct. So precision, or yeah, precision, or what we call as consistent, is the repetition between association. So precision is how close our result to the specific value. Repetition, yeah, it's a repetition between association, or how close our result with a specific value. And accuracy is measurement agrees with real cases or gold standard. So accuracy is actually the closeness of the measurement to each other. Mm, Here, as you can see, this is precise. That means they are close to the targeted value or specific value. This is accurate because they are they are close with each other. I mean, the targeted are close with each other. These are precise. That means it targeted directly, or yeah, directly with the close with the target. But this is accurate because the target are accurate with each, or close with each other. So that is the difference between precise and accuracy. Hmm. This is the example, as you can see, is digital watch, right? This one, yeah, digital watch. So digital watch can be precise but not necessarily accurate. So actually in time, we don't have any, no, we do have, regarding the accurate time per second, we can get the time, but we do not get the precise second. That means it can be precise, but it cannot, sometimes it is not accurate, like this one. It can be precise, but sometimes it is not accurate. So there's a difference between precise and accurate. And then the last one, I think 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, measurement scale. Measurement scale is provide a quantitative measurement of attitude, opinion, or value by summarizing score by researcher to respondent. So here are the three common scale. First is Likert scale, Thurston scale, and Gutman scale. So we will see one by one. So Likert scale, this is the most common one. I think we are familiar with this kind of questionnaire, like I said just now. Strongly, this is a ranking from strongly disagree to strongly agree. So this is the Likert scale. Okay, from happy, yeah, from at the back, not happy at all to very happy. So this is Likert scale. They have ranking for the scale for this one. And then next we have the Thurston scale. So Thurston scale is um, Thurston scale is actually ask the respondent, yeah, ask the respondent to use the series. Wait. Mhm. I think this one more or less the same with the first one, which is like cut scale. So for the test tone scale, it's a questionnaire or we ask the respondent by using the agree to disagree statement, different on the words. This one is actually more or less like the first one. So it can help to determine how strong they are to the answer. How strong is how strong the answer. If they feel agree, how strong is the level of agreement. That is the stone scale. And then the last scale is Gatman scale, or this one is Gatman scale is actually a scale to test or to see how positive the term is how positive or how negative towards certain issue or topic. So as you can see here, from the first to the fifth to the last one, are you willing to permit immigrants to live in our country, or how positive or how negative to how positive and negative they respond. So here from the less difficult from the less difficult question to most difficult question. It's from to test how positive or negative they are on the question or on the topic. Okay, so that's all for this chapter, data collection, measurement, and strategies. What is this? This no. So that's all for our lecture this week. So, like I said just now, before we do our practical, I want to have quiz 6 and quiz 7. Okay, so I think 10:30 we will start with our quiz. Are you guys okay with that?
Okay.
Okay, so 10:30. Okay. Guys, I just uploaded. If you can go to your quiz, I mean to your Google Classroom classwork, can you guys see the Google form for quiz 6 and 7? Yeah. So that is your quiz for today, quiz 6 and 7. So mm I give you guys until 10:45 for both question. Okay. So for quiz 6 and 7 until 10:45. So let me remind you again, this is not a survey. You don't have to submit me 2 or 3 submission. I will only capture your first submission. Okay. So until 2:45 to 10:45. Guys, hi. Uh, uh, mm, okay. So I think most of you already submit your response. So yeah, most of you already submit your response. So for today, we already covered this lecture. We already covered this 6 and 7, quiz 6 and quiz 7. So next we will move to our practical. So for practical, I assume you guys already have or download PSPP. You guys already downloaded your PSPP because hmm, wait, 22. Yeah. So I assume all of you already have your PSPP because for our next practical, you cannot open this data set if you already downloaded this file. You cannot open this data set if you haven't downloaded your PSPP. So for practical, actually, I already checked. So for practical, it's not I won't say hard, but it's quite easy. So for our practical, can we start our practical at 11 a.m.? Can we have some break before we move to our practical? Okay, so cool. So we start our practical at 11 a.m. So, guys, let's proceed with our practical. You guys can hear me, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is our practical for data analysis. Okay, we're using PSPP. So here, this is just an introduction. Mm, okay, this is just an introduction. Actually, for this practical, I already see it's and easy, but they have explanation. So this is this is the sequence from the previous practical. So Cronbach alpha analysis. So what is the Cronbach alpha analysis? So this analysis is actually to ensure the reliability of our data set. So this analysis actually to see this analysis is actually to see or to test what is the consistency, like what we covered just now in our lecture, consistency of our data. So basically, that is the introduction of Cronbach alpha analysis. Okay, I won't go to each of these point here, but I'll just highlight what is Cronbach alpha analysis because I think this one is just for us to read. So I conclude what is this analysis actually. So before I think I already highlight what is this analysis for. So it is actually to test the reliability or the consistency of consistency of our data. Okay, that's more or less for introduction. I think you guys can read. And then this is the Cronbach alpha. I think almost all of you not familiar yet how to read this kind of data in a research paper or in an article. But if you already go through some article, maybe some of you already see this kind of data, which is this as you can see here, alpha is greater than 0.9. So this is the kind of data or how we present our data in our research. We use this kind of table. Okay, so using this particular data analysis, there are few questions here which I think not only particular for this analysis, for other analysis too, there are few questions that we need to take in order to get precise or accurate data. So for this one, the first, I think this is too deep for your level, but it's okay. We'll go to through this one by one. So first, high level for alpha may mean that the items is the tests are highly correlated. So as you can see here, high level of alpha because they have French here. So high level of alpha should be somewhere around this. Alpha should be at least 0.9 or greater. So this level, that's mean the tests are highly correlated. The item, whatever we use or whatever that item in our research is highly correlated. And then the second one, however, alpha is also sensitive to the number of item in a test. So alpha is sensitive. That means because they will come out with because the main purpose, back to the main purpose of this analysis is to come out with consistent data. So the number of alpha is sensitive to the item. And then, do I need to read? Yeah. So a larger number of item can result in a larger alpha and a smaller number of item in a smaller alpha. So that's mean the number of item is again related with the value of alpha. And then this is the, no, this is not the sequence, but if alpha is high, this may mean redundant question if they're asking. So there's a possibility if the alpha, the value of your result is high, there's a possibility of the same question as is duplicate, redundant, what we call, yeah, redundant. And then a low value of alpha when there are enough question on the test. These two is related because if you have high alpha, that's mean maybe you have a redundant or duplicate. But if you have low value of alpha, maybe your question is not enough. And then adding more relevant items to test can increase more alpha. That means we can get more accurate. We can get more accurate data if we adding more relevant item. And then poor interrelatedness between the test question can cause also low value. So can measuring more than one latent variable. Okay. So actually this one, this is just a caution. Caution is something that we need to do for when we're doing, when we are doing our data of analysis or analysis of our data. There are many, it's depend on the analysis method or analysis tools that we use. There are cautions. Cautions is actually what we need to be very careful. It can be from your, even it can be from your starting of your questionnaire. It can be starting from your questionnaire. That's mean from the first process or first step when designing your questionnaire until to your data. So that's why I said again in the questionnaire, you need to cross check with what you expected to have at the end of your research, or what is expected data that you want to get in your research. Is your research question is enough, or is your research question is redundant with each other? Because if you have that kind of question in your research, then it will be hard for you guys to do your, it's not hard, but it's not easy for you guys to do your analysis, data analysis. Okay, but now this is a Cronbach alpha. So mm, here, if you have that file, you need to open the data set. Cronbach alpha. Oh, this is the result. Because actually I already run, this is the result. This is my result, but let's do again because I already run this one actually. So if you click, so open the data set and run analyze reliability. So you open your data set, and when you click on the data set, by right, it should open your PSPP too. Here, it should open your PSPP. Okay. Does anyone here still have problem with PSPP?
So far, no.
Okay. So when you open your PSPP, you go to your top menu, and then you analyze, and then you click on reliability. I think you just follow the instruction. And then there are item, and then you move them all by clicking on this button. This one. You click on the button. And then next, after you already click on the button, you will, by right, it should pop up another something like this. This is my output here. But this is the long output because I already run them. But you check on this one. here you can get 0.44. So 0.44, here you go to check here from this table, you cross check this table with this reliability statistic on Cronbach alpha. This is in the unacceptable range because we are opening the same set of data. So by right, everyone should get the same data like this one, like mine. Okay. So since this is 0.44, this is under the unacceptable range. Okay. Then here, as you can see on the reliability here, there are item 1, 2, 3, 4, and pretest, post-test, which is this part. So here it's that here. Wait. Pretest, post-test. Oh. If you go to see here on this page, if you go to another tab, you can see the item there. Here, variable problem. So you can go to here to check on the next step. Here, this is the variable. So this variable here is not a reliable. Yeah, it will be it's not a numeric variable, so it will be included in the reliability test. That's why we get here this that a warning. So the problem variable is not a numeric variable, so it will be included in the variable list. And then next page, item 1, 2, 3, and 4, this is the variable. So if we remove the relevant variable, we remove the irrelevant variable, our alpha, the value of our alpha here can be increased or can be improved compared to 0.44 just now. This is 0.52 after we move the irrelevant data item. We remove the irrelevant variable, okay? And then this is just an explanation on data analysis. So explore procedure in PSPP, static producement summary, statistic, graphical display, and running exploratory. This one actually, for explanation like this, I think I won't touch much in our practical. But what's important for me is to guide you guys on how to use the tools, because the tools might be useful for you guys for your research. If you have, or if you want to use this any kind of, if you want to analyze your data. Okay, here, PSPP statistic produce summary statistic and graphical display. This is on the PSPP. And then running exploratory data analysis may reveal certain inconsistencies in your data, such as unusual extreme gaps in the data or other peculiarities. Exploring the data can help to determine whether the statistical technique you are considering for your data are appropriate. Like I said, you need to cross-check your data with what you expect to test if it is appropriate data analysis. And then the exploration may indicate that you need to transform the data or the data if the technique require a normal distribution. Normal distribution is actually a set or analysis. Normal distribution is when we get our data, we can see the pattern of our data. So normal distribution is actually a method. It's not a method. It's like a way, a method, yeah. A method to analyze our data, because we already get our data, so we need to analyze. So this is a method or technique to analyze. And then again, this one, like I said, this is just explanation. So this is the process. So you go to here, analyze descriptive statistics. You go to analyze, you open first, you open your data set, you analyze descriptive statistic explore. So you go to how to remove the variable. Actually, from the previous lecture, there's a way. Wait, let me check how to remove. No, actually, I think Shak, you asking from the previous this one. Hmm,
Oh, never mind
remove.
already. I figured out already.
You asked from this one just now.
Ah, yeah,
Is
this
it?
one. Yeah, this one.
Okay. So we move to this part, open NPSPP. So you open and analyze descriptive statistic explore. So this one, what I did was I just opened from here. Here, analyze descriptive, what was it? Explore. So this one, you guys try to do two. Yeah, this one is my interface just now. And then pause gender. Pause gender and then click on. Actually, this one because I already, like I said, this one is my data because I already did. So it's here. But how you can click is just do something like this. You just click or select and then you click on this. And then you can remove. Salah. Reset. So let me reset. Pause and gender. Pause, pause, pause. And then gender. Okay, that's how you add. And then you click on the statistic bottom and then you will find this pop-up. Here, this is the pop-up and then you select on descriptive. Descriptive, like this one. And then you click on OK, so it will pop up another. You click statistic, okay. Here. This is your result. Or what is the result of your data? You can check here. You can cross check with your data. Okay, and then this is the output, and this is how to come with a histogram. Histogram is this one. Where's my result? Histogram is this one. This one. How to get this histogram from your data. So for this one, you guys do. I think you guys can straight get the step here. Here you just follow this step, and then you just follow this step here in this like what's that? Just follow exactly like this step. If you follow exactly like this one, then you can get the same the same one like mine, or the same one like this one. So after you already follow that one, you should get something like this in your output. Okay, this is the same output. Yeah, but I think they have this different data with our lecture. But that's okay because we want to see how to produce a histogram. And then okay, and then you just follow this step. Just follow this step for normality test. Normality test is this one. So you just follow the step here again, and then here one sample conversion test. This one, this is your normality test. Then this one is your output. If you just follow the exact same step, you will get your output. And then this is box plot. Box plot actually is the last one just now. So this is your box plot. Box plot actually is to see or to, because this is all the result, right? This is all the result from our data. So box plot is actually to test or to see the consistent of our data. But I think this is new to you and new to me too, because I never used this box plot in my research. So by right, this is your last result if you follow the practical. For practical, right, this is just a tool. So tools can be different using, like I said, this is PSPP is just another tools that we use to analyze our data. It can be other tools. So that's why for tools, if you do not familiar with these tools, it's okay because maybe you have different tool. For me, I only use this tool for basic data, for basic data analysis, and it can be different. It depends on your data or how you want your data to be or what kind of data you want to produce. It depends. So if you're not familiar, me myself, honestly, I'm not familiar. I only use this for basic function, but that's okay. Like I said, this is just a tool and they won't ask you regarding practical in your midterm. I think I just answered your question. Do we use this for our assignment? You mean your research? The tools, like I said, tools can be different. The tools you use for your data, like I mentioned just now, for tools, it can be different. It depends on your data, what your data need. For your assignment, not only for your assignment, for other research as well, you can use many tools out there. It up to you or how you want to produce your data. Did I answer you, Kelvin Sharp? Yes, so before we move to our assignment progress, any question regarding this tool? It's not regarding this tool, this practical.
No.
Wait, before that, I want to forward something to you guys. Hold on for a second. Yes, yes. Wait, huh? Oh, okay, this one. This one is what I got from the CC. Okay, let me forward this one. This one what I get from the CC. Yeah, wait. It's a theory. Okay. Okay. This one regarding your midterm. So no implementation of PSEA. And then, okay, yeah. So that's what I got from the one that who is going to design your paper. So before we move to your progress, do you have any question?
No.
With the progress, right? So start with the first group. Anyone? If not, then let me pick up. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I haven't made any progress yet.
Is this from the one last week? Because if last week, then I did check around
Yeah.
morning. So
Oh
no
yeah.
change since last time.
Based on the assignment, I mean, do we need to click the tab? Because in the other sample, and they don't put the tab.
Oh, the tab, the paragraph you mean?
So yeah.
Actually, if you go to maybe that's the format, but actually for introduction, it's not an introduction for paragraph in your research. Actually, for the tab, usually that's how people write the article. But since you refer back to the sample, so it's okay if I think it's quite okay lah if you guys don't want to put the tab because that one is only minor stuff,
This one.
minor issues. Not
Do not indent paragraphs.
do not indent.
Yeah. In the assignment
For
specification.
introduction, can you scroll up? Scroll up. Text. Do not indent. This one. So that's mean all in one paragraph. Okay, maybe that's how they want it to be. Then it's okay. You don't have to put tab for your article
Okay.
for this format. Because if you see other, they should have paragraph. This yeah, if you go to check, that's why I set this now. Noel, if may I share my screen for a moment? Hmm. if you guys, the reason I asked you guys, I think most of you I said tab for paragraph is because you are referring only to this format just now. But if you go other, this one is from the practical I got from our exercise. If you notice, only on the first paragraph they don't have this tab. But if you check others, not only for this paper, most of the article, this is the way. But since the format asks you to not indent the paragraph, then you don't have to be. But for article, usually they have this kind of format, which the first text here, they have tab. Okay, but maybe that's only for your knowledge if you want to write paper later. But for this article, because they already have specification, then it's okay. You don't have to put tab for that part. Okay.
Okay.
So other than that one, Noel, anything since last time?
I think so far
Oh, uh,
haven't made
oh,
any
okay,
changes
no.
yet.
But for okay, so for Ian, can you share your Ian, Jonathan, Ian, can you share your
Oh, okay. But not much. I didn't have any
since
updates since yesterday though.
yeah, because I think I forgot I want to comment on something.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me share.
Mm, mm, mm. Can you go to your hypothesis? Because I think I saw hypothesis. Okay, this one is your hypothesis, right? I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, correct? Six, right? Okay. Actually, I don't have problem with how many hypotheses you want to state here for your hypothesis. But like I said, for each and every hypothesis you state in your research, you need to justify. That's mean, I'm not asking you to, I don't have problem actually, but this hypothesis, if you think it is doable for you to justify at the end of your research, that's okay. But if you think that your hypothesis is too many, if you think that your hypothesis is too many, maybe you can just select or pick any of your hypotheses that you think you can justify at the end of your lecture, at the end of the research. Because yeah, because I let me confirm back. Mm, okay, because if we have presentation for this lecture, I'm going to ask you guys on that part. If you start here, for example, just an example, your hypothesis number 6, the primary contributing factor should be submission or connection. Yeah. For example, this hypothesis, I will ask at the end of your research, at the end of your at the end of your research, I will ask if this is already justified or not. Is this is theory acceptable or not? So research or sub objective that you state here, if you think, like I said, like if you guys can prove or you can guide, if you guys can justify all of them, I won't have any problem with it. But if you think that this 6 of hypothesis is too much for you guys can reduce. But it's up to you guys actually. That is just my suggestion. You get what I'm saying, right, Ian?
Yeah, yeah, I get. So
Yeah.
if we only keep like let's say we only keep these two, then it's a bit alang, right? How do you say? Only two of them. So if I remove all of them, only left with these two hypotheses, is it okay?
Yeah, for my master research on law. For my master research also, I only have one hypothesis. If
Oh,
you think you only have one, two, that's why because that's why I said it's up to you guys. Two, it's okay. Even my master, I only have one.
Oh, okay.
One
Then
or
I
two should
think
be okay. Yeah.
for now we put two first lah. I discuss with my members first.
Yeah. But
Okay.
it's up to you guys. I'm not telling you to remove, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think only that part. And can wait for your team. Can you scroll to what else? LR?
Not much has changed. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this part, right? So for not only for your team, just now the hypothesis to other team can apply to. If you think that you have too many hypotheses, maybe you can reduce, but it's up to you guys. If you can justify, it's up to you guys. I have no problem with it. But yeah, that one for hypothesis. This one for LR, right? I think most of you, not only for this team, they have a concern on how to write LR or how should you pick what should you include in your LR. So actually LR, I think what I mentioned is LR is other researcher or previous work from other research. So LR actually, how to write LR, you should, Ian, can you scroll up to your title? Yeah,
Let me
title.
copy.
So
copy.
how to write LR. Oh, okay, cool. So how to write LR is actually you need to refer or you can refer to your title here. So here factor influencing commuter using e-hailing services in Kota Kinabalu Sabah. So in LR, because LR is if you write already your introduction part, LR and introduction more or less is the same. But LR is more specific. That means LR is uh, this is article, right? So it's a bit long from your introduction part. So how to pick or how to choose what should you include in your LR is you refer to your title here. For example, here, factor influencing commuter using e-hailing services in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. So let me write. Uh, Here what you can include in your LR part is first is mm, uh, Ian, this one is what I give you, right? The three part
Yeah,
here.
yeah. This part.
Yeah, this is from the title. So this is other example what or you should what or yeah what you should write in your LR. So this here is the first one is commuter in KK. Commuter in KK because as you can see here they are targeting the commuters in particularly in Sabah. So here maybe they will write it can be newspaper, it can be news, research or observation. They can write in the commuter in Sabah. And then second, public transport in service history. Bukan. I mean the public transport. Maybe they can write something, some like history or the background of public transport in KK. And then the third one, what was it? E-hailing services. So maybe they can write something like e-hailing services or what is the history or yeah history of e-hailing services in KK, or maybe they can write something like mm, they can compare for your team. I think what you can add here, I forgot. Let me write. Number 4, compare what is the difference when people have yeah add that one maybe. So this is just a suggestion. Actually, for research, right? The most I can only guide you, but the the people that know the most about your research is your team. I do not know what is the background of e-hailing. I do not know this thing here. You guys should know things better than me. So I just can guide you guys. So for research, um, yeah, you guys should be the person that I will maybe in presentation I will ask what is or how do or for example in this particular research for this computer team maybe I will ask them how do they level the satisfaction of the commuters maybe or how will they get the data. So you guys should know things better because that's your research. Okay, so for Ian team, do you have, I think no, right, since last night?
Yeah, yeah. We have to work on LR first, then continue.
Yeah. So for LR, no, Ian, I just want to ask for LR, are you do this part alone or do
This part I do myself. This part lah.
hmm, okay. So actually I don't have concern on LR or how you distribute your work because that's your part to think or to discuss. But what I suggest you guys, because this is a research subject, so what I suggest you guys, this is just a suggestion. So every one of you should include in the LR part, because when you're again, if you have your FYP, LR is the most crucial part, and LR is a single or standalone. Yeah, it's a single chapter actually. One chapter is for LR only. So I think this is a good opportunity for you guys to learn how to write LR because LR is, like I said, most crucial, one of the most crucial part in research, and I think it's quite long compared to other part if you guys notice in the article. So I suggest everyone should involve in this part, but that's up to you guys. That's my suggestion. Okay,
Okay.
to other team too. Yeah. So I think that's all for your group, right, Ian?
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. So let me see who else. Kelvin. Kelvin Ferrer Nathan. Huh? Kelvin Ferrer Nathan, what's your where's the link? Oh, yeah. Okay. So I have the link here. Or you want me to can I because I have the link, is it the same link that you provided me last time? So can I open here? Can I share my screen? So this is what this is from the link last time. I have comment on your title, but I will hold that one first. Here, the effect on social media and student academic performance. Mm, this is just suggestion because I'm trying to, but it's up to you guys. Social media, mm, because social media is, I want to ask, how many social media do you intend to ask or do you intend to use as your variable on this research?
Or as many as possible. Cannot.
As many as possible. So what this is just suggestion. What I suggest you guys is to specific on one specific social media because it's up to you guys. Actually, if I'm the researcher, I will choose one because it will be easier for me. Like the
Face,
one, if you remember in our
Facebook one. Facebook.
one specific particular, for example, Facebook, Instagram,
Only
social
choose
media
one.
is that one, right? Yeah.
Ah,
This
yeah.
is just my suggestion so that it's easier for you guys.
Oh,
Because if not, then you will have many answer because some of students prefer to use Facebook, Instagram, so your data will not be accurate. So it's not that not accurate, but it's you have different data. So your data won't, I mean, like, because you have separate many data, I think you focus because I see here action you shouldn't change because, for example, if take Facebook, maybe it's your social media. So for introduction part, I think you shouldn't change anything. Yeah, you shouldn't change anything. Problem statement two, you shouldn't change anything much because if you only choose one Facebook, it is still considered as social media. But here, I suggest this is too many. But if you're confident, it's not confident. It's up to you guys. If you think five actually honestly is many. Usually people will go to I comment people will go to this one. I think if you can cut down to three, but it's up to you guys. But usually people usually up to three lah, three or two. Okay, Sharp and Farah and your team. So research question, this one, if you already select your objective, so research question should, this is not a research question. I mean, this is not a good research question. The second one. Okay. Why? Because this is not, um, research question should ask or should start with something like what, when, or why. So you need to check your research question. But what's important first now, I think you need to select your objective. But again, if you're confident with this, it's okay. I don't have problem with that. But your research question should tackle each of these research objective. Same with the hypothesis too. Like I mentioned with Ian group. So if you think this is too many, you can cut down to maybe two, three. It's up to you guys. If you can provide or justify this hypothesis, I don't have any problem with that. Okay, Kelvin,
yeah. Yeah,
any question from your
the,
team?
the title,
Yeah.
uh, cannot, uh, how do you say? Cannot use social media only. Cannot, like,
No. It's not that I said cannot, really cannot. It's up to you guys. That is my suggestion. If you want to focus, because if you think you want to, because I'm not sure, like I said, you are the one who should know more about your research. But if you think you want to use more than one, you don't want to focus on one specific, I don't have problem with that.
oh, okay.
But later you need in your introduction or in your literature review, you need to state the part of your, I mean, which social media that you use. I don't have any problem actually.
Later,
Okay.
need to say which social media to use. Okay, okay. So we just don't use too many, like the social media.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that will be good.
The title can still be same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, can. Okay. So, from Kelvin Shark, from the team member, Farah Vincent, maybe you have any question or no?
Oh yeah, the literature review, one member do one each. One literature each.
For the LR, like I
Yeah,
said, I suggest, this is just a suggestion. Yeah, you can do one. If you want to split for LR, you can do one part for each of the member.
and they all need to be
Oh,
referenced. Uh, they all need reference to.
you mean
All the literature review need to reference other sites.
reference? You mean that they need to have a reference for LR?
Yeah, need to reference other things.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Need to. Do we
Mm,
reference website or do we reference other research paper in
For
the
LR,
literature?
it's up to you guys.
Oh,
Yeah, it's up to you guys. You want to use any material because wet FR need to cite paper, not cite wet FR. Rachel, for real? I don't understand, Rachel. What do you mean?
he just asked if we really can use anywhere to reference.
No, of course you need to use the valid resources.
Not wiki.
Wiki? No, cannot. Why cannot? Because
I
the
know.
purpose actually not for this class. Wiki is everyone can go and change
Yeah, yeah.
any content in
I,
wiki.
I
So
also
cannot. Of course, need to cite paper, not cite for real, can cite website. Website can as long as it is a valid website. For example, organization. Let me
okay.
check this
Cannot
one.
cannot be blog like that.
Blog cannot. If you go to wiki, right, Rachel, if you go to wiki, yes, you can go to check the reference in the wiki, but you cannot tag the input from the wiki. Actually, if you know how to play with wiki, wiki is very helpful, but you need to know actually how to write. For example, mm, I shouldn't show you my for your team. Mm, for your team, for example, website. Yeah, for your team, Kelvin Shop. Just example, my social media is Facebook. Facebook. So you can go to official website of Facebook. Can see because that is the official website because you're using Facebook as your variable or object in your research. But it need to be valid. It's not valid. What's the term? Reliable resources. Yeah, not some random website or some random page. Official, yeah. You need to go to the official page, Facebook page. Yeah. But I think you shouldn't have problem with how to identify if the sources is reliable or not, right? Because yeah, wiki of course not. But if you know how to play with wiki, you can go to the reference list at the bottom of the page, and then you can click. Other research paper usually reliable. For other research paper, first we don't say it is reliable or not because research paper is done based on what people already do. So most of the research paper is actually reliable. But if you go through some of the research paper or some of the article available, you can find some missing information. For example, like year. I encounter this a lot. I need that research paper, but that research paper doesn't provide me enough information like year because year of publication is very important. So most of research paper is usually reliable. Yes, to answer this question, yes. Okay. So I think we still have some time before we move to other group. Who wants to share? Daniel, Alvin. I was on. Rashid, can you turn on your mic? I don't understand. Not web
Um,
sources. Web,
it means for LI, I was I was assuming that
right?
you can only cite papers, like other articles,
You mean you?
like
Huh?
from Mendeley.
Huh?
like from Mendeley or Google Scholar.
You mean that now your understanding is LR can only cite other paper?
No, my original understanding.
So now what do you understand? No, no, I don't understand. Now what do you understand about LR?
That you can cite web sources.
Yes, you can actually file are not only web sources, not only article. I think I mentioned last night too with the committers team. You can cite newspaper as long as it is valid resources. Not, for example, web sources can be um, web sources official Facebook page. No, Facebook don't have official Facebook page. Oh, what web sources, for example, is Yayasan Sabah. Oh, e-hailing in Sabah. Oh, no, 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 not e-hailing. Uh, yeah, let's see if they have to run. Here, you can cite if you think this is just an example. You can cite or you can include this in your LR if you find this is a valid source. Gov org that is valid. You need to check how to see if the link is valid or not. But of course, you can use this in your LR. It's not only this. Mm, if they have, this is valid because this is government. I'm looking for newspaper actually. What a newspaper? Sabah News.
It's the Star Online count.
The Star Online. Sabah. Yeah, the Star. This one, if you, oh, this is new. So, wait, so you can cite to this one. You can cite to this one because this is the, because to write this article, to write the news, you need to, of course, have a valid source. Only then you can publish something like this. So you can also cite this newspaper. It's not only newspaper, any link that is reliable. Oh, con. Aish. Eh. Guys, where are you guys?
Miss, if like
Yeah.
YouTube
So basically,
videos,
yeah. Huh?
if like YouTube can comes videos.
Actually, for videos, you need to be very careful. Videos can, as long as it depends on the content of the video. I mean, like, is it interview or is it an interview video or who published that video?
Okay.
You understand? Yeah, some random video with some people talking. For example, what's your group? Let me check. Where's the link? It's gone. So, what's your title, Noel? I forgot already.
The impact of COVID case in different
Oh,
Singapore.
yeah. So maybe for that one, if the video content or consists or the participant of that video is the expert in that field, it is reliable sources. But if it's something like random, then it is not. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes. Okay, Noel. Then Rachel. Not much new, but I want to make a small change to the title. Yes. You want to share your title? You want to share your screen, Rachel?
Um,
Rachel, Ivan, and Celine. Right. Let me see first.
Can you see?
Negative effect of online classes. Yeah, can.
Okay, so this is the current title. The thing I want to add was during the COVID-19 pandemic. To just to narrow down the scope a bit, because the original title was implying that online classes are like the root cause of negative effects on the mental health.
Oh, you don't
So
have the COVID-19 pandemic.
and we were having trouble like finding information about it because we were
Source.
basing it on like online class is the problem, but it's actually more to because of prolonged online classes and the isolation.
Oh, so you want to specify into the COVID or during the COVID-19, right?
Yeah, specifically during the COVID-19 pandemic, because before the pandemic, other countries have been doing online classes very well.
Mm. Okay, understood. So I think this one should be okay. But if you go, yeah, okay. Okay, if you want to add. Can you scroll down? So only on the title?
Yeah, so we might have to change a bit of the problems and the objectives. Just a bit, because it's more now it's more to due to the long period of online classes.
Oh, okay. So here I can see your objective, 5 objective. So I think, like I said just now, same with other group. If you think you're okay with 5, you should keep them. But if you think that's too many for you to, because every objective, every research question, or every hypothesis, we need to provide them or we need to prove them in our research. So if you think your this part is too long, maybe you can cut, but it's up to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, same with other group too. Okay, so
That's all.
so this guy Daniel, where are you? Daniel, Shak, and Elvin. Okay, thank you, Rachel. Yes, Daniel. Daniel, the one who always leave my class the last.
In the meantime, I changed the intro already lah for the introduction. Changed quite a lot lah.
Mm.
The keyword we make less keyword, as Miss already mentioned, too long. The abstract we
Oh
haven't
yeah.
changed. We haven't changed yet because we need to
Mm.
we need to more changes and we need to change a lot of intro lah to make sure that abstract pun related to it lah.
Mm.
The problem statement, Shark already, my teammate already make it paragraph already.
Oh,
For,
okay.
for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
The question, the objective, I need to make sure I miss if it's okay or not. That's all. The hypothesis and
Understood.
assuming feeling not sure. Also not sure about it. The
Okay.
LR we haven't do it yet because we don't, as Miss mentioned, that we are concerned how to buy it, and that's all.
Oh, okay. Okay, Daniel. Thank you. Oh yeah. Before I comment, but for your, I noticed this one. Can you scroll up a bit? This is just a minor comment on me. Make sure you justify your paragraph. It's not something like this. I mean, yeah, justify. Make it nice. make it neat. Okay, that's all. So for LR, if Alvin, yeah. Okay. So actually, okay, thank you, Daniel. So for all the group, I think not only for Ian, I think most all of you do not know how to write LR. So what I can suggest or how can I help you with your LR is you send me your you of course I already have your title. I mean, you send me your title in WhatsApp so I can list out what should be included or what can be included to your LR, so that you have like a guide what to include in your LR. But like I said, LR is anything that related to your research. So maybe if you guys still do not know how to write, you can PM me your title and then I can point out what can be included in your LR. Okay. Not only LR, for other part, for research, for this class, for this research method, if you, because some students are like, they, I won't use the term wasting their time, but you spend most of your time doing something that you do not know. So instead of you spend a lot of time on doing on what you are not clear or what you're not sure. For research method class, I think you can PM me because I enrolled to this class too with UMS. So most of the things is like in my head. I'm not a master, I'm not a pro, but I can respond to you guys immediately. Okay. Instead of email me, because email maybe I will check on night, but if you WhatsApp me, I will respond fast. Okay, guys. So before we end our class, any question?
So far.
Okay, cool. I think we can end our class now. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Okay.